Hey, for telling my family there's no room in my new house after they excluded me? My name is Jenna. I am 30 years old. I live in San Diego, California, and I work in marketing for a tech company. I am doing well. Not to brag, but I am doing well. The thing is, my family never asks how I am, or how my job is going, or if I have eaten. They are busy with their own things. Every December, I would make the exhausting trip to my parents' house in Woodland Hills for Christmas. It was a hassle. I would leave San Diego at dawn with gas station coffee and a packed trunk. And even then, I had to drive into the Los Angeles area through traffic and cooler weather. Between tolls and gas, I easily spent a few $100s, but I would arrive with gifts for everyone. For my parents Donna and Richard, for my older sister Stephanie, for her husband Mark, and for their kids Emma, who was already 6, and Dylan, who was 4. I would spend weeks choosing gifts, always with that silly illusion that maybe this year something would change. But for years I already had a routine, booking a hotel in advance because there was no room for me at my parents' house. Just like that. It all started almost 7 years ago. I was 23. I had just graduated from college, still with that excitement of I am an adult now, and all I wanted was to spend Christmas at my house in my usual bedroom. That Christmas, Stephanie was pregnant with Emma and had come to stay with Mark. Mark's parents and his sister had also come along. The house was packed to the brim, but I thought, well, I will sleep in my room like always. After dinner I went upstairs dead tired. I opened my bedroom door and stood there with a dry mouth. There were suitcases everywhere, clothes spread out on my bed, my closet open as if it belonged to someone else. I went downstairs confused. Mom, there are things in my room. Donna did not even turn around. She was at the sink washing dishes as if nothing was wrong. Oh yes, we gave that room to Mark's parents. They need to sleep comfortably. I just stared at her. Where am I supposed to sleep? She shrugged without an ounce of shame. Well, you should have thought about that before coming. Oh, I felt my blood run cold. Well, can I stay on the couch? From the living room, Mark's sister, sprawled on the couch as if it were her own home, shouted, I am already settled here. My dad, Richard, sitting in his favorite armchair, just said, it is already occupied. I stood there as if I had been pushed. Then where? Donna finally turned around, and I will never forget her face. Cold, as if I were in the way. Look, you had better find a place to stay today. There is no room on Christmas Eve. My own mom telling me to get out. I did not cry right there. I swallowed it all. I grabbed my cell phone and called Courtney, a friend from high school who still lived nearby. Courtney, can I crash at your place today? The thing is, I have nowhere to stay. Courtney did not even ask too many questions. Come over, I will set you up on the couch. That night I slept in her living room. I stared at the ceiling, feeling a hole in my chest, wondering what I had done wrong for my home to no longer be my home. The next day I returned early as if nothing had happened. Christmas morning, everyone acting normal, my mom serving coffee, my dad with his usual face, Stephanie happy, Mark chatting, Mark's parents very comfortable. No one mentioned what had happened, and I was just sitting there like a guest. That day I decided something without saying it out loud. I was never going to risk being caught off guard again. Since then, every December it was a hotel. This year was no different. I already had a reservation at a hotel in the Thousand Oaks area. Cost me around $200 a night, but at least I was not going to be without a bed. I arrived with my suitcase and a giant bag full of carefully wrapped gifts packed in the trunk of my Honda Civic. When I parked outside the house, there were already several cars. I took a deep breath, grabbed the bags, and went in. The door, as always when there are people over, was not even properly closed. As soon as I walked in, the smell of food hit me. Roasted turkey, stuffing, mashed potatoes, and all the holiday favorites in that kitchen chaos where everyone talks at the same time, and no one listens to anyone. Jenna is here! Someone yelled, but no one stopped. No one came to give me a real hug, nothing. I saw Stephanie in the kitchen, stressed out with Dylan glued to her leg asking for something, and Emma wandering around looking sleepy while trying to help my mom with everything. Mark was in the living room with his dad watching television, beer in hand. Mark's mom was sitting at the kitchen table giving her opinion on everything without anyone asking her. Hello, I said, setting the bags down next to the tree. My mom turned around quickly, as if I were part of the catering staff. It is good that you are here. Help me set the table. Get the good dishes and the glasses out of the cabinet. Not a single how was the drive? Not a single have you eaten anything yet? Nothing. Yes, Mom, I said and got to it. It was always like this. I would arrive and go straight to work while the others made themselves comfortable and chatted. We finally sat down to dinner. The table was incredibly cramped. I ended up wedged between my dad and Mark's sister. I tried to squeeze in a sentence, but they talked over me as if I were background noise. And how is work going, Mark? My dad asked with that pride that shows whenever he talks about his son-in-law. Good, they just promoted me to management, Mark said happily. And next quarter, there is a chance they will let me head a big project. Oh, how proud we are, Mark's mom said with a huge smile. That is what it means to be a real company man. They went on like that. Stephanie talked about the kids. Mark's parents talked about a trip. My dad laughed at things he did not even understand. I ate in silence, waiting for even just one question. After a while, Mark's mom turned to look at me. And you, Jenna, what are you up to? I felt a spark of hope, even if she was just asking out of politeness. Actually, I just got promoted. I am the head of marketing at my company. I am running a new campaign and... Oh, how cool. She cut me off, already looking bored. But well, it is not the same as what Mark does, right? I mean, marketing is fine, but he is in actual administration. My face grew hot. I managed to say quietly, marketing is also part of the business. Without it, you do not. Yes, yes, sweetie, she blurted out like someone humoring a child and turned to Stephanie. Hey, Stephanie, tell us again about Emma at school. And just like that, without hitting the brakes as if I did not exist. The worst part was that my parents did not say a word. Not a single hey, that is important too. Nora, how great, honey. Nothing. They just sat there listening, happy to play along with my sister's family. I finished dinner in silence, watching how they laughed, how they told stories, how they celebrated each other, and me just sitting there with my plate, feeling lonelier than if I had stayed in San Diego. After dinner, they went into the living room. Mark's parents took over the best spot on the couch. Mark's sister threw herself onto my dad's armchair as if it were her bedroom. I ended up sitting on the floor near the tree, because there literally was no room for me. And it gave me a bitter laugh to think, well, yes, this is the place I get. My mom started telling anecdotes. Do you remember when Stephanie was little and wanted to stay awake to see Santa? Stephanie laughed. My mom stroked her hair as if Stephanie were still 8 years old. She fell asleep around 10:30 right here on the rug. I tried to jump in. I did that once too. I hid behind the couch and fell asleep. My mom frowned as if searching her memory. You? Yes, you were about 6. You found me in the morning and said I looked like a little angel. Donna made a vague grimace. Oh, well, Stephanie was always very determined, and she kept talking about Stephanie, about Mark, about the childhood of Mark's sister, even about the childhood of Mark's dad. My memories did not count, or were not worth enough for them to remember. By 11:30 I was destroyed, not just from the drive but also from the exhaustion of being there like a piece of furniture. Even so, I held on and stayed until midnight. I had an absurd hope that when the clock struck 12, in that moment of Merry Christmas, everything would feel normal like before, like family. It struck 12. Merry Christmas! Everyone yelled. There were hugs, kisses. For a split second my parents hugged me. Stephanie squeezed my hand, and that second hurt because it reminded me of how it should always be. Then, as if nothing had happened, the let's go to sleep routine started. I went upstairs very quietly to gather my things. I had left my small suitcase in the hallway because I knew from the start I was not going to stay. I just did not want to cause drama over it. I was folding clothes when I heard footsteps. Jenna, I have to talk to you about tomorrow, my mom said from behind me. I looked up. About tomorrow, what? Donna adjusted her sweater as if it were a practical matter, devoid of emotion. Well, it would be better if you do not come tomorrow. You know, with the gifts and everything. I felt as if I had been slapped. What? Why? Your Aunt Valerie is coming. My throat tightened. And she is driving from Phoenix with her family. And you know how things are between you two. Of course I knew. Valerie, the woman who made my teenage years difficult with her hurtful comments and constant comparisons to Stephanie. Just imagining her made my hands tense up. I clearly remembered a time when I was 15. I was already having a horrible year. In high school, some girls were relentlessly picking on me. I was insecure and my spirits were at rock bottom. Valerie arrived during spring break, and in less than an hour, she was already making those comparisons again. She made repeated hurtful comments about my looks and constantly compared me to Stephanie, saying she had always been better. I froze. Then she looked at my appearance and my school performance, pointing out how I seemed to be lacking effort. That day I spoke up for myself. I said with a trembling but firm voice that it was not okay to treat me that way in front of everyone. A terrifying silence fell over the room. Valerie turned red and then started crying and screaming, saying that I was rude and ungrateful brat and how dare I. My parents were mortified with embarrassment but at me, not at her. They grounded me for a month, took away my cell phone, forbade me from seeing my friends, and treated me as if I had been the villain for defending myself. From that day on, Valerie decided she would not attend family gatherings if I was there, and my parents, instead of saying, "Well, she is our daughter," accommodated her reaction. I snapped back to the present, to that hallway with my mom in front of me. "So, you are asking me not to come because she does not want to see me?" Donna sighed as if she were tired of me. "It is not about choosing, Jenna. It is just easier this way. She is coming from far away with the kids. You can come whenever you can on another day." I looked at her for a long time. My mom was kicking me out of Christmas morning again because of a woman who dedicated years to making me feel inadequate. "Okay," I said quietly. "I will not come tomorrow." Donna relaxed as if she had won an argument. "Good, I knew you would understand." I kept packing my clothes. She stood there watching me, as if making sure I was not going to change my mind. A part of me wanted to scream, wanted to tell her, "I am your daughter." I wanted to demand that she defend me for once. But I already knew. It would be useless. It was always useless. "See you later, Mom," I said, slinging my bag over my shoulder. "Be careful on the road, they say it is going to be cool," she replied, as if she were doing me a favor. I walked down the stairs. The living room was full of laughter. No one noticed me walk by with my suitcase. No one asked, "Are you leaving already?" No one. I walked out, got into my Civic and drove to the hotel. In my room, I ordered food through an app, something simple. I ate a little chocolate cake while watching old Christmas movies, and when I turned off the television, I made a promise right there, alone with no ceremonies. It is over. I am done trying to force my way into a place where I am a nuisance. I am done being the one who helps, the one who endures it all, the one who smiles so as not to ruin the mood. The drive back to San Diego was long, but peaceful. I had to drive facing the sunrise, and between stops I grew comfortable with the idea. Maybe I was not the problem. Maybe the problem was begging for a place. I spent the following days in peace. I watched movies, read, went out with friends. Courtney called me, and when I told her about my mom, she got angrier than I did. "Seriously, they did that to you again? Jenna, no way, they are your parents." "I know," I told her, "but I am not going to fight for crumbs anymore." And I kept my word. I focused on my work like never before. The promotion came with more work, yes, but also with a better salary. And nobody at my house found out because, well, nobody cared. I had been saving up for 8 years to buy a house. I always wanted a place of my own. A place where I called the shots, where I was welcome. After that horrible Christmas, I told myself, this is it. I called Derek, a real estate agent who was a friend of a friend, and I told him, "I am ready, I want to buy now." We searched for about a month. I wanted at least 4 bedrooms because I love having space. I wanted a nice backyard and, if possible, close to the ocean. We saw about 20 houses. Some were ridiculously expensive, others were pretty but in areas that did not convince me, and others had weird issues. Until one day we arrived at one where, as soon as I walked through the door, I felt a jolt in my chest. 2 stories, 4 bedrooms, 3 bathrooms, a spacious kitchen, a backyard with a small plunge pool meant for cooling off, and the beach about a 20-minute drive away. From the master bedroom window on clear days, you could see the ocean in the distance. "This is the one," I told Derek. The paperwork was overwhelming. Home inspection, appraisal, escrow process, signatures, payments that leave you shaking. I bought it with a down payment, savings, and a mortgage loan. Nothing magical, just pushing through and planning. One day they handed me the keys, and I kept staring at that keychain as if it were not real. "It is yours now," Derek told me. I laughed, but it came out with tears. I furnished the house to my liking. I bought a comfortable couch, one of those where you can fall asleep without feeling guilty. I hung pictures that I liked, not what anyone else liked. I set up a room for an office, left another as a guest room, and turned the extra room into a space for my things, for crafts, for whatever I felt like doing. I threw a housewarming party. I invited my close friends, people from work, and even 2 neighbors I hit it off with. We had a barbecue, snacks, played low music. We jumped into the pool for a bit. We had an incredible time. I did not invite my family, nor did I tell them I had bought a house. Why would I tell them if they never cared about anything regarding me? Months went by, the year slipped away between work and routine. And by the time I realized it, it was December again. I got used to coming home and feeling peace. I liked opening the door and having everything exactly as I left it. I liked inviting people over without asking for permission. I liked living without trying to earn a place. When the next Christmas approached, I realized something. I had not spoken to my family since that incident. I sent them happy birthday text messages out of obligation. They did not call me, they did not ask me anything. It was as if I did not exist. Until weeks before Christmas, my mom called me. "Hello, Jenna," she said weirdly, nervously. "Hi, Mom. What is up?" "Well, Christmas is coming. Just letting you know that this year do not plan." I almost laughed, as if I were eager to sign up to be humiliated again. "Oh, really? And why is that?" "Your Aunt Valerie is coming again, and you know it is easier if you stay over there." I breathed slowly. "Do not worry, Mom. I was not going to go anyway. I am going to spend this Christmas at my house." There was a long silence. "At your house? What house?" I smiled even though she could not see me. "I bought a house a few months ago. It has 4 bedrooms and it is in San Diego. I am going to invite friends over." My mom's voice changed. "You bought a house? And how? How could you afford it?" "I saved up. I have been planning it for years." "How nice, sweetie. You should have told us, we would have gone to your housewarming." I paused. "I already had it," I said. "It was really great. Without us." "Mom, when have you guys ever shown interest in me? Last year you did not even let me tell you about my promotion." Donna rushed in, as if wanting to put out the fire. "I am sorry if you felt, I do not know, cast aside. You know that sometimes things get out of control, but of course we care about you. We could go see your house. Maybe we can spend New Year's with you." I closed my eyes. "I have to go, Mom. And like you said, it is better if we do not see each other this Christmas." I hung up. My hands were shaking a little bit. Yes, but I felt good. For the first time I had something they wanted, not the other way around. Within a few hours, messages from Stephanie started pouring in. "Mom told me you bought a house. Why didn't you tell us? Send me photos. I cannot believe you hid this from us. Seriously, are you not going to invite your family?" I replied to her only once. "If you guys ever asked about my life, you would already know I was doing well. I have been saving for years." Stephanie did not reply to that. And 2 weeks before Christmas, my mom called me again. This time she did not even say hello. "Jenna, give me your address." "What for?" "We all talked about it and decided to spend Christmas over there with you." "How exciting. We already made all the travel arrangements. We are ready. Your dad already bought the plane tickets." I was speechless for a second. "What do you mean you decided?" My mom kept going as if she were organizing a visit to her own house. "Your dad and I are going, Stephanie, Mark, and the kids. Also Mark's parents and his sister. And your Aunt Valerie says she is thrilled to go near the ocean." At that point I laughed. Just slipped out. "Are you serious?" "Of course. We are family, Jenna. How could we not stay with you?" I took a breath and answered slowly, calmly. "I am sorry, Mom, but I do not have rooms available for you guys." There was a silence. A heavy silence. "Jenna, do not be like that. This is not funny. I am not playing around. I am serious. There is no room and I do not want people here." "But we already made all the arrangements. We already spent a fortune on plane tickets." "Well, you should have asked before assuming," I told her, exactly the way they always told me. And I hung up. She called me right back immediately. I did not answer. Stephanie called me. I did not answer. They called me again and again. That night there were about 15 calls. I put the phone on silent and started washing the dishes as if nothing had happened, with a calm that even I did not know I possessed. Stephanie switched to text messages. What is wrong with you? Mom told me what you did. You are exaggerating. It is Christmas, you cannot do this. You are so selfish. I let her vent and replied just once. You want to spend Christmas at my house using my space? After you kicked me out of yours for years. It is not the same. After that, Stephanie did not text again, but my parents kept insisting with calls every few hours. I only answered numbers I recognized, friends, work, nothing else. The 2 weeks leading up to Christmas were, honestly, some of the most peaceful I had ever experienced. I decorated my house to my liking, put up lights, set up the tree, bought ingredients, and planned a meal with my friends without drama, without walking on eggshells, without feeling invisible. Christmas arrived. My friends showed up around noon. We cooked together, made punch. There were appetizers, roast sides, snacks, and desserts. We jumped in the pool for a bit, played games, laughed, and talked about everything. Several times someone told me, "What you achieved is so awesome, Jenna. Seriously, I am so proud." And right there I understood something very simple. The family that feels like home does exist even if you do not share blood. The day after Christmas I got curious and went on social media. I found a post by Stephanie, a photo of the whole family next to my parents' tree, but they looked miserable. My dad with a tired face, my mom with a forced smile, Mark looking serious, Mark's parents uncomfortable, the kids looking downcast. Stephanie looked angry, as if someone had forced her to pose. The text said something like, "Christmas with the family. We wanted to celebrate in a warmer place this year, but someone ruined the plans. Sometimes family disappoints you." I let out a loud laugh alone in my living room, and in the comments several relatives were asking what had happened. Who ruined it? What? Is everything okay? Why didn't you go? Stephanie did not answer. She just left the poison hanging there. That same day I got a message from a cousin I hardly ever saw. "Hey, what happened?" I saw Stephanie's post. "If you do not want to talk about it, that is fine, but I felt bad." I took a breath. I did not feel like explaining an entire lifetime. I just answered enough. The same thing as always happened, only this time I did not let them step all over me. A few days later, I received a call from an unknown number. I was expecting a work call regarding a closing issue, so I answered. "Jenna," a voice said. "It is your Aunt Valerie." My body stiffened. "How did you get my number?" "Your mom gave it to me. We need to talk." "No, we do not." Valerie let out one of those, "I am going to school you" sighs. "Look, girl, I do not know what your problem is, but what you did on Christmas was a disgrace. Your poor parents made the effort. They wanted to go see you, and you shut the door in their faces." I clenched my jaw. "Are you really telling me that? Of course they are your family. How could you?" "Let me stop you right there," I said, my voice now firm. "First, they did not ask if they could come. They demanded the address and said they were already on their way. Second, at what point was I family to you guys these past few years? That is not what matters." "It does matter," I fired back. "Because for years they made it clear to me that I had no place in their house during the holidays. They sent me to a hotel, they kicked me out on Christmas Eve, and last year my mom asked me to not even go on the 25th because you were coming. And now that I have a house near the beach, suddenly I am family." Valerie stayed quiet for a second, then came back with the same attitude. "You are being resentful, mean. That is not how we raised you." I laughed, but without joy. "You did not raise me, Aunt Valerie. You spent years telling me I was not good enough. You compared me my entire life, and when I defended myself, my parents punished me. You forgot about that too." "I do not remember it like that." "Of course you do not, but I do. And I will tell you something else. You wanted to come to my house for a free vacation, to have the beach, a pool, and to pose for pictures. Well, no. Pay for your hotel next time." "How dare you?" "How dare I?" I said, no longer shaking. "You called to scold me. You got my number to yell at me. But I am not 15 anymore. I do not have to put up with you. Your parents are devastated. If they were truly devastated, they would call me to apologize, I answered. They would not send you to guilt trip me. Valerie started raising her voice. You are an ungrateful. I took a deep breath and said, slow down. This is the last time we speak. Do not ever call me again. Do not ask anyone for my number. And do not ever expect to be invited to my house. You pushed me aside a long time ago. I am just doing the same but with peace. I hung up. The following months were silent. I heard nothing from my family, and the truth is it was a relief. I dedicated myself to my work, my friends, my house. I went for walks along the boardwalk. I enrolled in classes for something I had always wanted to do. I focused on myself, and for the first time in years I felt truly happy. Sometimes I wondered if they missed me. Then I would remember how quickly they fell silent when they could no longer use me, and the doubt would fade away. I spent 30 years trying to earn love and respect from people who were never going to give it to me. And now I was surrounded by people who did see me, did listen to me, and did celebrate me. And right there I understood the heaviest truth of all. It was not that there was no room. It was that they never wanted to make room for me until it was convenient for them. And when it was finally my turn to decide, this time the there is no room was real. Because for the first time my house was also my peace, and that is not up for negotiation. Comment. Hey everyone, I've been thinking a lot about how much self-respect matters. I believe we all have the right to set boundaries that protect our hearts and our peace. You deserve to feel valued in the spaces you enter, without having to earn your place. Choosing your own peace, even when it's hard, is one of the bravest things you can do. Healing truly begins the moment we stop accepting less than we deserve. Taking responsibility for our happiness is a powerful step toward a better life. I hope this reminds you to surround yourself with people who show you real kindness and respect. Be gentle with yourself as you learn to create the peace you long for. It's okay to build your own safe haven when old patterns no longer serve you. Let's keep supporting one another to live with more self-love and inner calm every day. If you liked it, don't forget to leave a comment and support the channel by subscribing. See you in the upcoming stories.